Hello and welcome to Tech Trends with me, Olayemi Odunuga. On this week's show,
we feature a cold chain startup, Figorr, formerly known as Agric, and how it's providing solutions to problems in the cold chain space. And we also caught up with tech content creator Toby Ayeni, popularly known as Miss Techie, and she reviews Tecno's first ever flip phone.
But first, let's give you some trending tech updates. Don't forget, this is a program that takes you on a ride in 25 minutes to seek out innovation and creativity that are unique to Africa. The promise of artificial intelligence and computer science generally vastly outweighs the impact it could have on some jobs, in the same way that while the invention of the airplane negatively affected the railroad industry, it opened a much wider door to human progress. A Nigerian cold chain startup, Figorr, formerly known as Agric, has developed IoT-powered solutions to support the storage and last-mile delivery of temperature-sensitive products. The startup uses a hardware device, modes, to transmit the location, humidity, and temperature of the products in real time to the cloud and customers. They've also created a solar-powered cooling box that can keep agricultural and healthcare products at the right temperature when transported and stored. In this small office space in Lagos is where Nigerian cold chain startup Figorr, formerly known as Agric, is developing IoT-powered solutions to support the country's health and agricultural sector. Figorr is helping African businesses save money on the transportation and storage of temperature-sensitive and perishable goods to help eliminate losses. The startup uses a hardware device, moat, which is placed in cold storage setups to transmit the location, humidity, and temperature of the products in real time to the cloud and customers. The founder, Ogenetega Eor team, first came up with the idea after an investment loss in agriculture. He sought to build a solution that works irrespective of the infrastructural challenges that exist in the cold chain market.
If you look at the African landscape today, you see that sub-Saharan Africa basically has one of the major challenges when it comes to agriculture. You have about 200 million people that are undernourished, and if you look at vaccine distribution for children, you see that in places like Nigeria, 20% of the population do not have access to vaccines, and the major cause of this is actually due to the lack of supporting infrastructure for distribution, and that's where we come in. We try to build technologies that are immune to the infrastructural challenges in this market to ensure effective storage of temperature-controlled products, which could either be fresh agro produce or it could be vaccines, oxytocins, insulin, and other healthcare products that affect human lives.
Tega says after a series of iterations to his idea, like prototyping with a local guard pot, they built the first model of the smart cold chain box in 2018. Materials were sourced locally, and then they started operations.
I think when you look at Africa as a whole, I think the startup ecosystem are solving some very critical problems. Like I said, we listen to customers every day. We take feedback. That's like the most important thing in this business. Taking feedback from the customers and adopting it, and we try to build that culture into everybody that works here. I think when we had the pandemic, I think we're just one of the people that were prepared for it, but also we did go through some tough times during the pandemic, and we listened to the customers at that time again, and then that helped us produce a different product. So we developed a second product during the pandemic, and I think that was one of the things that really did well. I think the principles of running a startup basically has been to always run lean, and yes, the pandemic taught everybody how to run lean.
The smart cold box is like a mobile refrigerator.
It has batteries powered by solar and is embedded with real-time storage temperature that can be controlled remotely via an app. A location monitoring technology is also fitted into the device to keep track of products at the point of pickup to their last destination in real time.
One key area where we complement or we help the African businesses is through the quality assurance technology, or the quality assurance bit, which is enabled by IoT. So beyond just storage, we think that it's quite important for businesses to be able to access real-time data of storage conditions and locations of assets. With that data communicating in real time, they are able to actually see the activities of the third-party logistics partner. So at the end of that day, they can actually know whether the 3PL is doing a great job or is doing a terrible job, without having to get into an argument of what has happened and what hasn't happened. They have access to that data.
Having dealings in the healthcare sector, the startup pays very close attention to the transportation of products, so they built in features such as geofencing points of interest to ensure an immediate notification if and when the products go out of course, and proactive measures are taken.
If you look at the ecosystem, we sort of complement rather than compete with other businesses. Like I mentioned, you have certain businesses that are in the storage space, and we're building innovation that kind of helps with mobility and tracking while in transit, or even tracking while in storage. So we're just basically improving what those people have, and also helping them ensure that the products which you don't want to go bad while in storage doesn't also get bad while in transit. So it's more like complementing what they already have. When you look at cold chain technology, there's a lot of implication. There's life involved, there's access to food involved, but there's also the price of commodity involved, because when you have high waste, it means commodity becomes scarce, and then when commodity is scarce, the prices go up. So I think if we're able to succeed, it doesn't just only benefit us as a company. I think it benefits the country. It's a model that could be replicated across Africa, replicated across developing countries in Southeast Asia as well. So yeah, I think succeeding would typically help make life a lot more better for a lot of people across the world.
Agric, now Figorr, started off by solving problems in the cold chain space of the agricultural sector, but soon discovered the solution could be spread across various platforms, especially healthcare. Brand Chang is a 22-year-old computer science student of Stanford University. He had a hackathon event coming up and felt inspired to develop a ChatGPT-enabled lens that can apparently make you better at flirting, better at job interviews, and just generally give you a better personality. So, he grabbed an augmented reality eyepiece, his laptop, and recruited a few friends to his dormitory. Together, over a few hours on a Saturday, they coded what he calls RizzGPT.
RizzGPT basically uses AI to provide you charisma on demand. And so it listens to your current ongoing conversation, and it tells you exactly what to say next, whether you're on a date or you're doing a job interview.
RizzGPT is a software that uses OpenAI's ChatGPT, which can generate human-like conversations based on user prompts. Chang built it using an augmented reality monocle designed by Brilliant Labs that features a camera, a microphone, and an internal projector screen where words can be displayed. Since the monocle is open sourced, Chang could modify the firmware and internals and code it to his liking. He coded RizzGPT to monitor conversation through the microphone and transform that conversation to text and send it via Wi-Fi to ChatGPT to generate a response. A charismatic response is sent back to the monocle, where the text is displayed on an internal screen that the user can then read. In a demonstration, Chang is seen pressing record on his computer and responding to the question, "What do you see as your biggest weakness?" which he responds to by reading from the monocle.
I believe my biggest weakness is that I can be too hard on myself sometimes. I'm always striving to do my best, and sometimes that can burn myself out.
During a later recording with his phone, Chang responded to a friend asking a similar question, and the text appeared on the bottom of his monocle. It read, "My greatest weakness is that I get too focused on the details of a problem and find it difficult to take a step back and see the bigger picture." Chang says there are no plans to commercialize RizzGPT. Instead, he just wants to show what's possible with the technology.
Yeah, I think it's mostly like a passion, personal kind of project. And the goal here is not to kind of immediately commercialize into a product, but just to show people what the future might look like, right? And I do think, it's been a while since how we interact with computers has changed. The last shift was probably mobile in the mid-2000s. And so you're seeing the convergence of 5G connectivity, AR glasses, the hardware, the intelligence coming together to basically create a new way of interacting with these systems, a new operating system, in which it's much more natural. You don't have to force users to go through specific apps or websites or tools. Computers are going to feel a lot more like human relationships that we have, and all you need to do something is just ask instead of doing it yourself.
When asked if he was concerned about users over-depending on RizzGPT, he considered it is a risk, but not the goal.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a risk that we've thought about, and the goal is not for it to replace the role of you in the conversation, right? It's merely meant as this sort of assistive aid to help you think about things that you might have forgotten. For example, if you're in a job interview and they ask you about past experiences, right? It might resurface things that you've done in the past. So it's really meant to just inspire you, not to tell you exactly what to say. And I think in that role, it could be incredibly helpful for people who struggle with social anxiety and have difficulties, talking to others.
The current model of RizzGPT is strictly a prototype, and like most prototypes, Chang says he still encounters bugs that can make the text formatted in a difficult way to read. Ameca, a humanoid robot developed by UK-based Engineered Arts, has been integrated with large language models, an advanced form of generative AI that are the basis for generative pre-trained transformer platforms such as ChatGPT. This means Ameca can be asked a question and respond in a human-like manner. Combined with a world-leading animatronics, it's possibly the closest humans can get to having a conversation with a real-life robot. And when asked about the possible dangers of artificial intelligence, the conversation turned decidedly meta.
People should be aware of the potential risks associated with AI and robotics. However, it is important to remember that these technologies can also have a positive impact on our lives if used responsibly.
Ameca was also asked to describe the worst nightmare scenario for human-AI interaction.
The most nightmare scenario I can imagine with AI and robotics is a world where robots have become so powerful that they are able to control or manipulate humans without their knowledge. This could lead to an oppressive society where the rights of individuals are no longer respected.
According to Will Jackson, founder of Engineered Arts, the desktop version of Ameca, made up of the head and upper torso, cost approximately $100,000, with the full body versions costing as much as 4 times that, depending on the features.
The focus for the last year or so has been language models. So you'll have heard a lot about ChatGPT, GPT-3, GPT-4. So we've done some work on integration. There are many other models outside of the OpenAI ones that we hear about. We're also integrating vision components, recognizing faces, expression estimation, body pose estimation. So combining visual information with audio information. This particular model of Ameca is a desktop model, so it's designed for research applications where you're really just concerned with facial expression and communication.
The head contains dozens of actuators that are responsible for controlling Ameca's facial expressions, giving her human-like character that can frown, smile, and blink.
For humanoid robots, social interaction is exactly what makes sense. So for us, it's all about can you be entertaining? Can you tell a story? Can you do talk in an interesting way, not a boring robot-y way? So we spend a lot of time training our language models to be as natural as possible.
Jackson added that they're now turning their focus to Ameca's hands and legs, aiming for a full walking version able to grasp and manipulate objects, though he concedes that's a few years away. He also added that the ultimate aim was to create a robot capable of integrating with human society.
Tecno recently launched its first ever flip phone and latest flagship foldable device with the Phantom V Flip 5G. The smartphone sets a new standard for the integration of advanced technologies and high-end fashion-forward aesthetics with a powerful camera system, unique circular cover screen, and stunning Cosmos-inspired design. The Tech Trends team caught up with Toby Ayeni, popularly known as Miss Techie, who is a tech content creator. She reveals the design, camera, and other features of the new phone.
Obviously, the fact that it's so compact is a major, selling point. The fact that as a lady, I can fit this anywhere. I fit this in my pocket, in my bag. Ladies would like carrying very miniature bags. And when it comes to that, you have to hold your phone in one hand and your bag in the other hand. But with a phone like this, it's so compact, it can fit anywhere, right? But aside from that, it also has a lot of, nifty features that I think I like, and that has to do with this screen. So Tecno is calling it the Planet, but this is like a 1.3-inch AMOLED screen that has a lot of functions. So rather than opening my phone, so let's say I get a call, for example, rather than opening my phone to end the call, that's too much stress, yeah? The screen will pop up the moment I get a call, and I can choose to end it on this screen, or I can read my messages, turn off airplane mode, turn on, it's so functional, right? And I think that's also another selling point. You don't need to open up the phone every now and then to do things. And another thing ladies would like has to do with the cameras. So you know how we like to take selfies, and when we go to events, we have to look for somebody to take a selfie with, and that can take a picture of us, right? With this phone, it has different modes. So there's the tripod mode that you can just place the phone like something like this on your lap or on a table and take the picture by waving your hand. So there are 4 major gestures that you can use to take pictures. You can wave your hand and the picture will be taken. You can smile and the picture will be taken, and other gestures as well. So it makes it really convenient as opposed to the regular type of phones. And it's also a conversation starter, to be very honest, because when you go out and you have something like this, the color is really beautiful, by the way, but when you go out and you have something like this, people are looking at you like, okay, what's this person holding in their hand? Because you definitely will look different than others. Yeah. It has a 4,000 mAh battery along with a 45 watts fast charge feature. And guess what? This is actually the fastest charging flip phone that you can find. According to my test, it charges in 49 minutes, which is really fast, right? Considering the size, right? It's also quite long lasting. I've had to watch YouTube videos on it for a while and without the battery life depleting. And when it also comes to performance, you get really impressive specs as well in that regard. So this uses 8 gigs of RAM, you get 255 gigs of base storage. That's a lot, right? And then you can also expand that as well. I mean, I feel it's an all-rounder. And as a lady, I am more drawn to it than other phones because of course, the size as well. So I think I've mentioned a couple of the features, which is the fact that it comes with an impressive camera setup. So you have a 32 MP front-facing camera, but the main camera is also quite impressive as well. And when it comes to display, you have a really impressive display. So with this, you can comfortably play your game. And another thing that is also very important, and I think that most flip phones, so if you get a flip phone, yeah, there's a big chance you might notice this line, right? There's a line, right? Yeah, because obviously it's a flip phone, right? Yeah. But with a Tecno phone, it's barely noticeable. Like the crease, we call it the crease. The crease is barely noticeable. And I think that's amazing because for you to be able to create a phone that you can barely notice the crease, as opposed to other people that have done it in the past, and we can still see the grace. It's really something, right? And according to them, I think they said they've tested the opening and the closing 200,000 times. So the flex can stand the test of time to a large extent. So I think those are the notable features. The fact that it has impressive cameras, the fact that you get great performance, the fact that the display is an AMOLED screen with 120 Hz. It's really the top of the line specs packed in one really cute size. The price is, and the price actually has to do with the rate, if we're being honest. All phones are now priced a bit higher than what would have expected because of the exchange rate. But the funny thing is, I would still say this is the most affordable flip phone you can buy right now. Because when you consider the competition and the prices of other flip phones, this is actually very affordable, right? So yes, it might be a bit pricey. The price range is around, I think, 560,000 naira, within that range. It's a bit pricey, let's not lie. But once again, if you're looking to buy any flip phone, this is the best you can get at that price. No other phone is on that level. I have worked with Tecno for a long time now, and if there's one thing I have to say about the brand is that I love how they are not stopping. I love how they keep on reinventing the wheel. They keep on bringing new. They are not boxing themselves. They're thinking outside the box, thinking of ways to expand. I mean, if you remember Tecno of that year and Tecno of now, there's a big difference now, and that shows that they are really thinking. They have really spent so much in their research and development, right, to come up with really innovative stuff that's not going to break the bank, right? I think we have to give it to them in that regard because to a large extent, I've worked with so many brands in the past couple of years, and I can say for a fact that Tecno has stood the test of time, and they've continued to reinvent the wheel. I feel like, especially considering where they were coming from, it's difficult to break out of that perception that people already have of you. When Tecno started, people used to look at it as China phone, because of how they came up, right? But now they've been able to solidify themselves as one of the top gunners in the country. As a matter of fact, based on a particular report I saw, Tecno sold the highest phones in the country, right? And that says a lot. It means that Nigerians are obviously now accepting the fact that Tecno is here to stay, and Tecno is actually worthy of the hype, in quotes, right? As opposed to just brand messages. I mean, if something is really bad and you buy it one time and you see that it's bad, right? Chances are you won't buy it again. Or chances are you would obviously go on social media and call them out with your full chest, because it's a lot of money to buy these phones, yeah? But over time, and this is coming from my standpoint as a reviewer, I feel like based on the reviews that I've seen so far from people, the comments that people have dropped, yeah, they've gotten to that point where they are very comfortable as a brand, especially in this terrain. And with regards to the competition, I mean, every one of the phone brands, everybody's reinventing the wheel. Everybody's doing something different to get more customers on their own end. And it's just a battle of who gets the best innovation and who's able to sell to us more features at a good price, as opposed to just, basics. Now, customers have gone past that phase of, I want to buy a phone because I want to buy a phone. But instead, this is how much I'm spending on the phone. What are the features I can get out of it? Right? So customers are now enlightened. Customers now know their A to Z about tech. So it's not just about, can you take pictures? Now we are now going in depth as to, the performance. Many Nigerians are now very tech savvy. And so they ask really important questions, as opposed to back then when it was just, as far as I can take good pictures, I'm fine. And after a while, you see that the phone is now very slow and laggy, and they're having to complain and all that. Oh yeah, it was quite interesting. I presented, so at that point I was a bit tensed, but it was an interesting one. I really enjoyed the vibe, and once again, the audience there also made sense. Like, I think they were very intentional about the people that they invited for the last launch event, and you could tell, right? And what is it? Oh, the food was nice. The food was really nice. But yeah, I really liked the vibe. I enjoyed my presentation because of the fact that I knew about the phone. It felt really comfortable to speak about it without, when you are cramming stuff, it doesn't come naturally. But this one, it felt really comfortable to speak about.
Well, that's all we have for you on our lineup this week. Thank you for staying with us. But as always, Tech Trends is here to share insights, trends, and developments happening in the tech space. And if you missed any part of the program, you can always catch up on the channel's TV YouTube accounts where we have all of our episodes, and I encourage you to watch, share, and like your favorite editions. For Tech Trends, I'm Olayemi Odunuga. I'll see you next time.